What is up, people? I hope you're doing great. I hope you're having a great day. Let me just check if I've connected. Yeah, I have connected. I hope you guys are all having a great day. Welcome to another video. Welcome to my channel. So guys, today I would obviously as I said I don't find the Champions League really interesting at this moment in time because it's like some games are just dead. Most teams have already qualified. So I just don't see a point in kind of making a video about something that's not going to change really. So I said I've just look for some topics. So that's for the purpose of that's why I'm doing this video. I just want to keep posting content and just be regular with my content. So today I would like to ask a question. I want to kind of dive deep into. I've been thinking about this for a while, so I want to kind of dive deep into it. Are Man United back? And when I say back, is this the start of Manchester United? Like, is this the rebirth of Man United? Is it the start of Manchester United? Like, kind of basically, like, is the cycle that they're starting right now under Eric Ten Hag eventually going to reach a pinnacle where they will be winning trophies, where they will be back to being Manchester United? So that's basically what I want to talk about in this video. But before I go into the video, please guys continue to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Please push that thumbs up button if you like the video. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. And also please push that notification bell so that you can get notified each time I post a new video. Excuse me there for yawning, but please push that notification bell so that you can get notified each time I post a new video. So yeah guys, that's the question I want to ask, because apart from the first two games of the season against Brentford and Brighton, when Man United lost 2-1 at home to Brighton and they lost 4-0 away at Brentford. Apart from those two games, they've been really, they've played some good football. Obviously, they were thrashed by Man City 6-3. Oh, sorry for that. That was my niece, and I think she wanted to go to my sister, her mom. So it's like she was kind of throwing a tantrum there. So I apologize there for any screams you might have heard, guys, or for any noises you might have heard. But I was basically saying, apart from the first two games of the season against Brentford and against Brighton, and against Man City when Man United were thrashed rarely, they've been really kind of consistent so far this season. I think they had a couple of draws. I'm not actually quite sure. I don't think so. I don't think they've drawn another game. I think they lost again. They lost against City. They lost against Brighton. They lost against Brentford. Oh, they drew against Chelsea last week. They drew against Chelsea. And apart from that, but they actually deserve to win against Chelsea, if I'm being perfectly honest, because they outplayed Chelsea in that game. But McTominay was stupid with the foul he gave away, which kind of made them kind of fall behind. But then Casemiro came up with an equalizer, he's headed, he basically scored a header down at the other end, and that was probably a fair result because I guess I don't think it actually was a fair result. I think Chelsea deserved to lose that game because I think Man United were by far the better team. Just that Man United could not capitalize on being by far the better team because, as I said in my video yesterday, I think the only thing that's short at Man United, the only thing that they're struggling with at this moment in time is having that cutting edge that is required to create clear-cut goal-scoring opportunities so that you can score goals. They just they don't have that cutting edge as of yet, and also they don't have the finish. They don't have the lethal finishing that is required so that even when you don't play well, you are able to win because you have lethal finishers up top. That's what that's what they don't have at this moment in time in their team. But their build-up play, their defending has been pretty good so far this season, apart from against Man City, against Brentford, and against Brighton. Man United, I think, have been really good so far this season, and I think this is the rebirth of Man United. I think this is the start of Manchester United in terms of they are what they're building now under Eric Ten Hag is a team that in a year or 2 or 3 years' time, maybe 2 or 3 years' time, if they keep Erik ten Hag and they make sure that they keep backing him in the transfer market, this is a team that can start competing for the league title. And the reason why I'm saying that is because it all starts with the coach. Erik ten Hag is doing something that has not been done at Manchester United for the past probably 10 years or 9 years since Alex Ferguson left in 2013. He's holding each and every one of the players accountable. There is no one who is above the coach. There is no one who is above the club. And that is the first thing, that is the basic thing that you have to do as a coach or as like a teacher in any walk of life. The students should never be above you. Otherwise, there won't be any authority in whatever it is that you are trying to run. In business, in football, at school, there has to be a person who is going to be the representative of the authority. There needs to be someone who is going to hold people accountable so that people don't do whatever the hell they want, so that people can follow certain rules that have been put by the authority, and so that people know that if they don't follow the rules that have been put in place, there will be consequences. That is the first thing that Erik ten Hag has done at Manchester United. He has brought accountability into the football club. There's no one who is going to get away with not being on time for training. There's no one who's going to get away for not working hard on the football pitch, for not giving 100%, for being late, for leaving early, for not attending team meetings. He has brought accountability to the football club, and as a result, the players are consistently on their toes. And he has also brought accountability in the form of players not playing well. If you don't play well, you out the side. There's no there are no favorites. There aren't any players who are going to be above the coach. There aren't any players who are going to play even when they're not playing well. He has brought accountability in the sense that the players now know that if I don't play well, if I don't put on a shift, if I don't put in a shift, I am not going to play in the next game. And that is very important in football. You have to make the players accountable if you want to build a winning team. Because if there's no accountability in your team, then the players, some players have pride and they will give you 100% even if there's no accountability. But some players are not going to give you 100% if there's no accountability at the football club. So I think that is one of the that's one of the few things that Erik ten Hag has changed since he has come to Man United. And as a result of that, he's getting the best out of the players that he has, and he's getting the best out of the individuals in that, because the individuals are giving 100% for the football club. The individuals are giving 100% for the coach, because they know that if they don't give 100%, then they're not going to be in the team. So I think I commend Erik ten Hag for that. Even the Ronaldo situation, when Ronaldo refused to come onto the pitch and Ronaldo left the ground early, before the game had actually ended, when Man United won against Tottenham, Erik ten Hag held them accountable. He basically said, okay, you know what? Ronaldo has disrespected the football club. He's disrespected me as a coach. He's disrespected his teammates because he left early. He refused to come onto the football pitch. Therefore, he's not going to be even in the squad for the game against Chelsea. Now, some coaches would have thought, you know what? Chelsea is a big game, so we need to play Ronaldo in that game. We need to have him on the bench so that if we're playing well, let's say the 70th minute or the 60th minute, just that we're struggling to score goals, we can put him on the football pitch and he can be the difference. But Erik ten Hag said, no, I am going to hold Ronaldo accountable. I'm going to punish him for not wanting to come onto the football pitch when I have basically requested that he should come onto the football pitch. I don't care who you are, how much you earn. If the coach tells you to come onto the football pitch, then you should come onto the football pitch. It doesn't matter if Ronaldo is a billionaire or is the most popular athlete of all time or whatever. It does not matter. He's employed by Manchester United Football Club. He's being paid by Manchester United Football Club. And therefore, he should do each and everything that the coach asks of him because he's being paid by the football club. He's working for the football club. You can't, as a person, if you are an employee at a certain company, I don't care how rich you are or how wealthy you are, you can't say when a manager is telling you to do something, you can't say, oh, well, I'm not going to do it because I don't feel like it. or because like it's late, so I want to sleep, or it's late, like this is beneath me, I can't be working this late. You can't do that. If like football players in their contract, it is stipulated that barring any injuries or any personal issues or any like mental health problems or whatever, bar any health issues, you should come onto the football pitch and you should play to the best of your abilities whenever the coach asks you to. So if the coach benches you for 10 straight games, you're still picking up your wages. So if he asks you to come on at the 11th game or in the 11th game, then you can't ask questions as to why you haven't been playing for the past 10 games. You do what the coach is telling you to do because you're being paid to do it. Because it would be better if when you say you don't want to do it, you say, well, you know what, I don't even care if you don't pay me. Because there's a lack of accountability with football players in that they feel entitled that they should not be asked to do certain things, but they always want their wages and they always want their bank accounts to be basically filled with the money from the football club. Whereas, like, yes, like, look, I'm not accusing Ronaldo of not like of being a bad professional or of just wanting to pick up wages and not play. I'm not accusing him of that, but just because he's Ronaldo and just because he's so popular, he's the most popular athlete of all time. He's the most popular person on earth because he has the most followers on Instagram. No one has more followers than Ronaldo on Instagram. He's basically probably like I think he has a lifetime contract with Nike, and he's like in terms of his earnings from endorsements and football, he's earned over $1 billion, I think. So like just because of all of that, it does not make him above, like it does not put him above Manchester United. It does not put him above the football coach. Whenever your coach asks you to come to the football pitch, then you go onto that football pitch and you give 100%. If you don't do that, then there should be consequences. Like how Erik ten Hag consequenced Ronaldo for not wanting to come onto the football pitch and for leaving the football pitch early. So I think that's something that Erik ten Hag has brought to Man United, and that's one of the reasons why Manchester United are playing a lot better than they've been playing in the past few years. So I think that's really been one of the few things that Erik ten Hag has changed to Manchester United, and as a result, the players are performing better. They're working harder because they are like they know that there will be consequences if they don't do what the coach asks them to do. And I think that's one of the most important things that a football coach has to implement at a football club. There has to be accountability at every football club if you want that football club to be successful. Now, moving on to the next thing, I think the signing of Casemiro, even though at first some people were criticizing the signing, saying it was a panic buy because Manchester United brought him late and all of that, and it might have been a panic buy, but irrespective of that, Casemiro has been one of the best signings in this past summer transfer window. Because when you look at what he's brought to the table, as far as Man United are concerned, he's having man of the match performances week in, week out, and he is doing the job that Fred and McTominay combined could not do. He's a world-class defensive midfielder who is able to put out all the fires, put out all the counter-attacks, make sure he protects the back four, and whenever he wins the ball back, he's feeding it to the attacking players. He's giving it to Eriksen. He's giving it to Fernandes. He's giving it to the attacking players so that they can go and express themselves. Now, Man United are playing with a lot more fluidity because now they're not playing McTominay and Fred in the same team as the two defensive midfielders. They're only playing one defensive midfielder. And as a result of that, they're adding an extra attacker. Instead of attacking with four players, one midfielder and three attackers, they're attacking with They're attacking with 5 players, 2 attacking midfielders and 3 attackers. As a result of that, there is so much more fluidity in the team than when you play with 2 defensive midfielders who can't even do the job that you're actually asking them to do in McTominay and Fred. Even Fred is now putting on better performances for Man United because now he's not being expected to be the defensive midfielder at Man United, a job that he can't do. Now he can express his talents. He can get the ball. He can run with the ball. Even though, like, not that I'm saying he's like one of the best people, like one of the best players in terms of running with the football, whatever. But he's not being exposed as much as he was being exposed when he was being asked to play as a holding midfielder. Why? Because he now has more freedom to go forward. He has more freedom to take the ball and try to pick a pass. And he knows, even if he doesn't pick the right pass, Casemiro is there and he's going to put out the fire for him. He's going to bail him out. And now he's not going to be as heavily scrutinized as he has been in the past. So I think Casemiro has been one of the best signings this past summer for the Premier League, and he's one of the best signings Man United have made in the past 10 years. Man United have been crying for a defensive midfielder who is world class, because each and every team, in order for a team to fully function, you need a defensive midfielder. Because if you don't have a defensive midfielder, your attacking players are not playing with as much freedom as they play with when they're playing with a defensive midfielder there to protect the back four. So I think whether it was a panic buy or whether it was not a panic buy, it doesn't matter. I think Casemiro has been one of the signings of the summer because of what he's brought to the table for Man United and how he has improved Man United as a team, because now Man United can play with an extra attacker. They don't have to start McTominay. They don't have to start Fred as their two midfielders. And as a result, they're playing with a lot more fluidity with Christian Eriksen and Bruno Fernandes as the two midfielders that are in the team. And I think Casemiro's link-up plays is also underrated because he's actually quite good at pinging balls from deep in midfield to the attackers. He's also good with his short passes as well. He's also good with like threading passes between the lines and basically breaking up the lines the teams that Man United are playing against put, like, when you have like four midfielders and literally it's almost like there's no space to play the ball, and he's playing the ball in between the lines and he's basically breaking those lines and he's giving the ball to the attacking players and he's turning defense into attack just like that for Man United. And I think that's something that's really underrated in the game. You never hear people talking, even like these awards like Ballon d'Ors and all of that. You never hear people who play as the defensive midfielders being mentioned in that like high like in those conversations for like best player in the world, in those conversations for Ballon d'Ors or for UEFA best men's player of the year. But I think the holding midfield position is so important in each and every team because it allows the team to play with a lot more freedom. It allows the attackers to go out and express themselves because they know that they have a guy they can trust at the back who's going to shield the back four, who's going to put out all the fires for them, and he's going to make sure that the team concedes as less chances, as few chances as possible. And that's what Casemiro has brought to the table at Man United. And I think that's something that is really underrated in the game because, like, a lot of people want to talk about goals, a lot of people want to talk about assists, a lot of people want to talk about chances being created. And I think that role is a role that is underappreciated in football. And that's what Casemiro has brought to the table at Man United. And then I think another person I would like to talk about in terms of as a signing that Man United made is Christian Eriksen. I think Christian Eriksen has brought a lot to the table at Man United because of how good he is in terms of receiving the ball on the half turn, and also his long range passing and his passing accuracy. Like, Christian Eriksen, one of the best players in terms of getting the ball deep in midfield and pinging balls from deep in midfield to the attackers and pinging those balls with accuracy. He's really accurate in terms of picking passes, and I think that's something Man United haven't had in a long time. Like, Bruno Fernandes is a creative player. He's an attacking player. He's an attacking midfielder. But too many times, Bruno Fernandes gives the ball away. Like, he gives the ball away to the opposition way too cheaply. And as a result, like, his team, like, if Christian Eriksen is not playing for Man United, you don't have that person who can take the ball from deep in midfield and link up the play and link up defense to attack. Like take that ball and make long range passes with accuracy and give the ball to those attackers so that you can turn defense into attack. Too many times Bruno Fernandes gives the ball away whenever he tries to do that, and that kind of like that's a setback for the team, because now you thought you were turning defense into attack, but then because you gave the ball away, you then have to start defending again. Whereas if you get the ball from deep in midfield from the defenders and you make a pass, like you pass the ball basically with accuracy to the attackers, you are able to turn that you're able to turn defense into attack swiftly, and as a result, like your team creates a lot more opportunities as a result of that. And I think that's what Christian Eriksen has brought to Man United. And he's also an underrated signing, because a lot of people were actually questioning the signing of Christian Eriksen at Man United. A lot of people saying it's not a signing that is inspiring. A lot of people were actually even saying Christian Eriksen is not going to start for Man United because he's not better than the midfielders that they have. And I think that is really disrespectful towards Eriksen, and he's actually proving those people who were saying those things wrong because of what he's brought to the table at Man United. Because he's really and also another thing that he's brought to the table is the ability to receive the ball on the half turn. That skill is very important because some people might not notice this, but if you look at players when they receive a ball, what separates top midfielders to the average midfielders is the way they receive the ball. If you look at the top midfielders, when they receive the ball, they always receive the ball on the half turn, and they always keep their head up. They never look down, they never look on the ball when they play. Their head is always up, and they're always scanning. They're always looking for pictures. They're always looking at where they're going to pass the ball before they actually receive the ball. And that's what separates the top midfielders from the average midfielders. Average midfielders are going to receive the ball while average midfielders are never aware of what is happening around them. So they'll receive the ball, whenever they're preparing to receive the ball, they'll actually look at the ball, and only after they take a touch will they try to look up and look for a pass. Whereas top midfielders, world-class midfielders, when the ball is coming to them, they're scanning the pictures. They always keep their head up. And whenever they receive the ball, they receive it while by the time they receive the ball, always they know where they're going to pass the ball. They never receive the ball without actually having an idea of where this ball is going to go. And that's what separates the top midfielders to the average midfielders, because when you receive a ball and that split second of knowing where you're gonna pass the ball before you receive it allows you to pass that ball without getting too much pressure from the opposition. Whereas if you don't know where you're actually going to make your pass when you receive your pass, that split second allows the opposition to close you down, and they close out all the angles that you would have had if you had received that ball on the half turn, and if you knew where you were going to pass the ball before you actually received it. And that's what Christian Eriksen has brought to Man United, in that whenever he receives the ball, he always receives the ball on the half turn, and he's always looking for pictures. He's always scanning the pitch. He's always looking at where his teammates are. He's always looking where he's going to pass the ball. And as a result of that, that does not allow the opposition the chance to get to him quickly and close him down and close out all the angles and close out all the passing lanes. And I think that's what he's brought to Man United. And when you compare and contrast Man United with Christian Eriksen and Casemiro as the two midfielders that drop deep, and if you compare, the player who used to play really as a holding midfielder for Man United is McTominay, and the player who used to play as the second midfielder is Fred. If you compare Fred and McTominay, it's two different planets. It's two different stratospheres, because Fred does not have that ability of receiving the ball on the half turn, and Christian Eriksen has that. Fred does not have that ability of scanning pictures before he receives the ball. He looks at the ball before he receives it. And you never look at Fred and you say, okay, let me not say never, because I've actually seen Fred sometimes actually make great passes, but he never does that with consistency. He's never going to make 5 to 10 passes in one game, and like he's never going to make 5 to 10 passes that make you, like in one game, that make you say, wow, that was a great pass. He may make 1 or 2, but it's never going to be 5 to 10. Whereas Christian Eriksen is going to make 5 to 10 to 15 passes where you're like, that pass was a great pass. It was a pass through the eye of, it was a pass through a needle. He basically threaded a pass through a needle. And there's not many players that can do that in world football. And I think that's what Christian Eriksen has brought to Man United. And that ability to receive the ball on the half turn. Like, instead of turning your back to play, standing like this. Like, I'll make a demonstration. Whenever Christian Eriksen receives the ball, instead of receiving the ball standing like this, he always receives the ball standing like this. And as a result, he takes it on the half turn and he basically goes towards the side where his team are attacking. And because of that, that just like that gives you that split second more of basically having a passing lane. Because if you receive the ball while you've turned your back to play, by the time you're trying to turn and look where and try to find where your teammates are, the passing lane, most of the passing lanes have already been closed because it's top level professional football, and as a result, you have to make split second decisions. And if you don't have that ability to make those split second decisions, then that kind of is going to make you an average player, and that player who is able to make those split second decisions is going to be a top world class player. And I think that's what Christian Eriksen has brought to Man United. And as a result, Man United have a lot more fluidity in attack than they have had in previous seasons. And I think that's also that's testament to his ability. And it's yeah, man. I think Eriksen is one of those footballers who are really underrated. He's not too flashy, doesn't talk much, but when you actually watch him and you analyze him play, then you realize that guy is he's different gravy. He's one of those players that can play for the top teams because of his ability as a midfielder to receive the ball on the half turn, to always keep his head up, to always scan the pictures, to always scan the pitch, and as a result, he's able to make those passes that very few midfielders can make in world football. And I think that's one of the improvements that Erik ten Hag has brought with him to the football club. And also I think Erik ten Hag has coached the players. The Man United players, like a lot of them, when you watch them in previous seasons, you could say that guy lacks coaching. It's like he doesn't know where to be on the pitch. And as a result of that, like, you can't bring out the best in him. I think one of the most improved players, if not the most improved player so far this season, when you compare and contrast his performances in previous seasons, is Diogo Dalot. Dalot is playing his best football that I've ever seen him play. He's attacking, he's defending as well. Like, he's not getting as exposed as he was getting exposed in previous seasons under previous coaches at Man United. And I think also what has helped him is the addition of Lisandro Martinez to the backline at Man United. Now, a lot of people were criticizing Man United for signing Lisandro Martinez because he's too short, and basically he's the shortest centre-back in the Premier League, and a lot of people were saying he's too short, this is not going to work. But Lisandro Martinez plays with that South American factor. That it factor that the South American players have. That edge, that mentality, that dog mentality. If you watch the South American players, they're always up for a fight. They're always up for a scrap. So that's that dog mentality that Lisandro Martinez plays with. Every time he goes in for a tackle, you that kind of that energy, that aura that he brings to the table. Like even when he makes a tackle, he makes his teammates want to have that grit and that determination. And I think that's what you're seeing in Diogo Dalot, in that you're seeing Diogo Dalot make tackles and he gets pumped when he makes tackles. He wants to high five his teammates. He wants to make fist bumps with his teammates whenever he makes a tackle. And that's not something that we've ever seen from Diogo Dalot. And I think that's what Erik ten Hag has also brought with him, because he was the one who suggested that Man United should sign Lisandro Martinez. And I think that's something that he's brought to the table with him to Man United. That grit and that determination at the back line, like in the back line. And that's kind of like that mentality, that grit, that determination to make the tackles, that determination to keep a clean sheet. It has basically it has been spread throughout the back four of Man United, and as a result, they're looking a lot more solid than they did in previous seasons. And actually, an interesting stat is that Man United, in the whole of last season, in the 38 Premier League games they played last season, kept 8 clean sheets. So far this season, they already have 5. So they only need to keep 3 clean sheets in the remaining, 26 games? Is it 26? I think it's 20. Yeah, we've played 12 games so far. Actually, I think Man United have played 10 games or 11 games. So Man United have 27, 26 games left to play. No, 27, 28 games left to play so far this season. And they already need only to keep 3 clean sheets in those remaining 25 plus games to match their clean sheet record last season. And I think that tells you all you need to know in terms of the difference between the team they had last season and this team that they have now this season. Because like they already have 5 clean sheets so far this season, whereas in the whole of last season, they only kept 8. And I think that kind of shows you the mentality and that ability to defend that Lisandro Martinez has brought to the table. And also the fact that, like, even though like at this moment in time Rafa Varane is currently injured, I think that partnership between Rafa Varane and Martinez was really kind of starting to become the best, one of the best, not the best, but one of the best partnerships in the Premier League, because they complemented each other so well. Because like Varane seems like the quiet guy, Lisandro Martinez seems like the guy who likes to talk, and I always like that combination between centre backs. And also Varane is really quick, and also like Lisandro Martinez is really quick. So there was with Lisandro Martinez and Rafael Varane at centre back, Man United have a lot of pace, and it's unlike when they have Harry Maguire there, who is really slow. Even though he had a good game in the last game Man United played, that game against West Ham, Maguire did have a good game, to be fair to him. I don't just want to jump on the bandwagon of just criticizing Maguire for the sake of doing it, but I think Man United as a defensive unit have been significantly better with Rafael Varane and Lisandro Martinez than when they had Maguire and Lindelof and all these mediocre guys that have been playing at centre-back for them. And I think, I think Erik ten Hag is really building something at Man United, and you're starting to see the patterns of play that he wants from his team. He wants his team to play with grit and determination. He wants his team to play at a high intensity. He wants his team to win the ball back from the opposition as quickly as they can. Like each and every time when the team loses the ball, he wants them to get the ball back as soon as possible, and he wants to play front foot football. And I think that's one of those are the few differences that he's brought to the table. And as a result, you're starting to see those patterns of play. Obviously, it's going to take time. He's only had 11 games. He's only had 3 months in the job. So I think, like, if Man United give him time, like how they should do, in a year or 2 or maybe 3, they'll start kind of reaching that level. If it may even be a year, for that matter. And the reason why I'm saying it may even be a year is because of the funds that Man United have. Man United this past transfer window spent in excess of £230 million, and that's something that they can do next summer if they want to, as long as they allow Erik ten Hag to be part of the decision-making process with regards to the players that are signed. Because one of the things that Man United have struggled with in previous seasons is that they've been putting people who don't know anything about football in positions of making football decisions. And they have not been consulting the coaches in terms of the players that they've been signing. And as a result, they've been wasting money on players that they don't need and on players that don't fit the profile that they want and that they need. But now, you've seen with the players that they've signed, because Erik ten Hag, it's actually in Erik ten Hag's contract that he signed with Man United that he is going to be consulted with each and every transfer decision that Man United make. That's why the whole saga with regards to Man United trying to recruit Erik ten Hag and trying to make him their new coach took a while. It's because Erik ten Hag wanted assurances that he's going to be given the power to make footballing decisions when it comes to transfers. That's why Man United signed Lisandro Martinez from Ajax, who obviously the only reason why they signed him was because he played under Erik ten Hag at Ajax. That's why they signed Antony. That's why they were in for Frankie de Jong, but Frankie de Jong did not want to leave and they ended up not signing him. That's why they didn't sign. They signed Taro Malacia from the Dutch league because Erik ten Hag knew him. That's why they signed Christian Eriksen, because Christian Eriksen has a relationship with Erik ten Hag, because Christian Eriksen was actually was once a part of the Ajax academy, and also after he had his cardiac arrest, he went to train with Ajax to try and regain his fitness before he went to Brentford in the January transfer window earlier this year. So if Man United continue to do what they've done so far under the regime of Erik ten Hag and giving him the power to recruit the players that he wants to the football club, I think it may even take a year and Man United could be challenging for a league title. Because Man United, if they can get a world-class striker, even though there's not many world-class striker out there, if they can get a world-class striker and they get a world-class winger, because Jadon Sancho is not cutting it at this moment in time. He's nowhere near the level that you need to be challenging for a league title at this moment in time. Their midfield is pretty good, but I think Bruno Fernandes is inconsistent. I think if they can find a midfield gem, a midfielder that is going to be a lot more consistent with regards to his chance creation and getting those goals and assists. If they can get that midfielder to play in that midfield, and they can also try to improve their squad depth and add quality players to their bench, and if they can get rid of Wan-Bissaka and get a right back that is either better or at the same level as Dalot to add competition to the side. Because I've been really impressed with Dalot so far this season. Whether he's good enough to play for a team that is going to challenge for the league, I'm not sure. So if they can address a few positions, I think they could challenge for the league, and they are capable of doing that if they can back the manager, which is what they should do. I don't know whether they're going to do that, but if they do that, then they can start challenging for a league title in a year or in 18 months' time. Because I think Erik ten Hag is a good football coach, and he has the ability to improve players, as he's shown with the likes of Diogo Dalot, Luke Shaw, Rashford, who was shocking last season, and he looks like a different player so far this season. Yes, he hasn't improved Sancho as of yet, but I think Sancho is maybe suffering from a bit of confidence, and I think he should be taken out of the team so that the spotlight stops being on him, and so that he can kind of start regaining his confidence. And I think he's going to start playing at his best. I think if Man United can do that, then they can have the opportunity to start challenging for leagues again. So yeah, man, I think I've been really impressed with Erik ten Hag so far. Apart from those 3 games against City, Brighton, and Brentford, I think they've really played. They've been decent. They've not been world class or one of the best teams, but they've been decent, and they've been a lot better than they have been in previous seasons. Yeah, man. So I think I'll wrap up the video there, guys. If you haven't done so, guys, please subscribe to the channel, and please push that notification bell so that you can get notified each time I post a new video. And also please push that thumbs up button to like the video, guys. It really massively helps, and it helps in terms of supporting the channel. So I'd really appreciate if you guys would push that thumbs up button and push that subscribe button. Please, guys, continue to support the channel. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for watching the video. I really appreciate that support. And yeah, guys, man, have a great evening, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and yeah, man, ciao.